This is 9 News with Davina Smith.
Good evening. It is the double homicide that has thrown out the unwritten rule book that underworld criminals live by, and bloodshed that's sure to spark retribution. 2 women shot dead as they sat in the backseat of a car in Sydney, and as we go to where tonight, it appears one of those women was known to police, but the other was collateral damage, an innocent life lost in a new low in the city's gangland war.
Gunned down on a Revesby street, 48-year-old mother Lametta Fadlala sitting in the back seat of a car outside her Hendy Avenue home when there was a knock on the window from the barrel of a gun, an attacker opening fire. A Saturday night ambush police claim to be targeting Fadlala, but hairdresser Amne Al-Hazuri, known as Amy to her friends, also in the back, caught up in the barrage of deadly fire.
10, 12 shots, it sounds like, and then you just hear a couple of cars speeding pretty quick down the street.
This is an organised, methodical, planned murder. It bears the hallmarks of an organised murder.
A 16-year-old girl and a 20-year-old man were also in the car.
They were just been together on a social night out.
And as the attackers fled, so did they. Around the corner to nearby Western Street, where they called for emergency help. The fight to save the 2 critically injured women playing out outside Peter Aitken's door.
They worked on those 2 women. Oh. It was amazing. Truly amazing.
Fadlala dead at the scene.
They put a flower on the lady.
38-year-old Amy Al-Hazuri taken to Liverpool Hospital but couldn't be saved. As that played out, what investigators say could be a network of attackers left a calling card, torching cards on Presland Avenue in Revesby, a Mercedes on Devlin Drive in Wattle Grove, and another Mercedes on Elizabeth Crescent in Yagoona.
The flame probably came up past the telegraph poles.
The house actually shook. It was really, really loud, totally unexpected.
Police seizing security vision believed to show attackers in dark clothing, pouring petrol and making off. Sources have told 9 News that Al-Hazuri and her young friends were only at this address to style the older woman's hair before a night out. As the group piled into the car, they had no idea what was to come.
The 16-year-old girl and the 20-year-old young man that were in the car with them, incredibly lucky that they weren't killed or seriously injured. They're devastated. They're assisting with inquiries, as if all the families that are linked to both the women that have lost their lives today.
This afternoon, specialist police raiding the Hendy Avenue property.
Police search warrant, open the door! Police search warrant!
The investigation now spanning several suburbs. Lametta Fadlala is known to police. Detectives say she has criminal links, but right now, investigators haven't found a tie to recent gang war.
There's no evidence at all to suggest that it's part of any current conflict. We're going to treat this on its own merits. There used to be an unwritten law with the criminal element, especially in organised crime, that you don't touch family and you don't touch women. I think that rule of engagement and that law book's been thrown out the window.
Fears tonight of what this targeted assassination could spark.
Well, the backlog of flights in Canberra has been cleared tonight after a 4-hour emergency never before seen at the airport. A gunman opened fire, sending frightened passengers running for their lives. Tonight, he's in police custody.
The moments after multiple shots rang through Canberra Airport. Witnesses filmed the suspected shooter being subdued by one policeman as 2 others trained their pistols on him. On the floor nearby lies a weapon.
There was some guy upstairs in a white T-shirt and the federal police had him in handcuffs.
The middle-aged suspect was led to a police van.
This afternoon at approximately 1:30, a male has entered Canberra Airport in the departures area. He is sat in one of the areas adjacent to the glass windows. After approximately 5 minutes, this male has removed a firearm from his possession and let off approximately 5 rounds.
Saskia was on her way home to Melbourne.
I just checked in, so I just dropped my luggage and I was just around the other side of the glass when gunshots rang out, so that was pretty terrifying. And everyone started screaming and yelling, "Run."
There was confusion on the tarmac as a concerned pilot called the tower.
Know anything about what's happening in the terminal? There seems to be a lot of people running and no one seems to be answering our radio calls.
Gary was waiting for his son's flight to arrive.
I heard 3, maybe 4 loud shots, and there were about 6 people sitting near me who ran in towards the toilets.
The marks from 4 gunshots which shattered the peace at Canberra Airport are clearly visible on 3 panes of glass on the first floor.
We have no idea of any motivation. I can say that there were no injuries.
Police have isolated the crime scene, but the airport has reopened. Chris Ullman, 9 News.
Vision has emerged of a group of teenagers roaming the roof of one of Melbourne's most iconic train stations. 4 teenagers spotted on top of Southern Cross Station, at one point even seen running. It's unclear how they were able to scale the roof. They are now calls for a security review. Police with guns drawn have pulled a man from a car on the Great Western Highway in Sydney's west. Police say he came out of the Kingswood Hotel this afternoon armed with a replica pistol and got into a family's car but didn't threaten the 2 adults and 2 children inside. He was pulled from the vehicle and has been taken to Nepean Hospital under police guard. Well, Victorians aren't heading to the polls for the state election until November, but today very much felt like an unofficial campaign launch. Elizabeth Moss has the story from State Parliament. Lizzie, good evening. A new name but an old face put forward today.
Yeah, that's right, Davina. Just over 100 days to go. We can barely wait. And what better time for a rebrand? Matthew Guy will now be known as Matt Guy on his media releases. The opposition leader, of course, has had a pretty troubling last couple of weeks. In fact, he's lost 2 senior staff members in just a matter of weeks. But this name change, this is nothing new. In fact, it's straight out of the Premier's playbook. You'll remember back in 2014, right before Labor's landslide victory, Daniel Andrews very quickly became Dan Andrews, which we've all come to know pretty well. But today's announcement's very much focused around healthcare. The opposition has pledged free public transport for around 260,000 healthcare workers. That's going to come at a cost of around $100 million. Now, the state government wouldn't match that pledge today, instead pointing towards their own scheme, $3,000 retention bonuses for healthcare workers. It's no doubt, after what we've seen over the past couple of years here in Melbourne, health will very much be a hot election issue, and it's no doubt we will see only more announcements on that front as we get even closer to the polls. Davina?
Okay, Lizzie, thank you. A rescue mission is underway in the capital of Armenia after a series of explosions ripped through a busy shopping centre. Customers fled for their lives at the first blast as it rang out, but many became trapped after the second, more powerful explosion. The disaster is believed to have been caused by pallets of fireworks simultaneously exploding. The brother of Paul Green has